had Isaiah Simmons out there a lot last night. Look, I understand you got to see what you got there, but what have you thought of his progress? I know like looking at a little bit lost in coverage at one point, but what have you thought of his camp overall?
Yeah, he's had a good camp. He's learning a new position, right? So he's playing linebacker. We had him on the outside a little bit. We had him on the inside in the box a little bit. And I think yesterday or last night, a lot of stuff was, he's doing for the first time. I thought he did some good things, and there's some things he needs to correct, which is what the preseason's for and what camp is for. But I thought he's done some really nice things in practice, and hopefully that will continue, and he'll get more comfortable, and we'll see that translate to the field. But he certainly got a lot of snaps last night. For the reason, he's playing a different position, and we want to see how much experience we can get him out there.
Jeff, you'd obviously like to have your first team all-pro safety available. What are you kind of thinking why you don't have them, especially with Bo playing so much nickel?
Yeah, you got to look at it as it's time to develop the other players, and that's our job as coaches. Certainly, we had Zane, and then Zane had the injury last night, and then KT I thought kind of popped in and played a lot of snaps, and he did a nice job. Certainly, we have Evan back there, and we pulled him, and we pulled Bull, and Omar's a guy that's had a good camp, and we need to continue to develop him. So when guys go down in the season, which unfortunately they won't, but at any position, when guys go down, we have to make sure that as coaches we're developing the next guy, and that's what we're doing right now. Bull can play safety, but then Hobbs isn't around right now, so then it's who's playing nickel. So we're going to have to kind of mix and match, but I think you'll see Bull continue to do both, just like he did last night in certain packages. But we need to bring those young guys along. I thought Baldwin did some good things. We got to develop those guys.
Speaking of development, what were your thoughts on Bo Melton, getting to see him against another team?
Yeah, it was really good, and we kept him out there, for a good amount of time. He never played the position, so a lot of things were new for him. There's a lot of different formations, a lot of things he's seeing for the first time. He's just playing on the opposite side of the ball in a real game or a preseason game for the first time, probably since he's done it, I guess, in probably high school. But he's physical, he's competitive, he gets to the ball, he tackled well. He didn't have much action. I think he had a ball thrown to him on the one sideline on a deep out route. But yeah, we need to continue to play him. He needs experience and he needs time. But I'm pleased at what he's doing right now. Like I said, the guy gives you everything he has. And we just need to keep playing him. I think these joint practices will be huge. We need to get him a lot of reps in these. We need to, up the coach, but continue to play him in these games. And then we have another joint practice the following week and another game, and hopefully he'll be ready to roll. I have confidence in him.
Has Kenny Clark looked different because he's not playing with a broken toe anymore?
Yeah, Kenny's had a really good camp. Didn't have much action last night. He only played, a handful of plays. Kenny's had a really good camp. He just seems like he's moving better. He's more comfortable. He's using his hands really well, and hopefully we'll continue to see that. But I would say yes. I think the way he's been playing in camp, he's kind of taken a step from where he was last year. And I think he would say the same thing.
Jeff, what did you want to see in a live contact with guys in the box, particularly your veterans, and then who stood out from your seeing for the first time, like draft picks or undrafted guys on your defensive line?
Yeah, what do you want to see in the box? You want to see the guys up front play with great hands, great technique, win their gaps, get off blocks. We don't want guys to stay blocked. We want everybody, shedding their blocks, trying to get to the ball, guys attacking the ball, linebackers, being lined up where they're supposed to be, finishing violent and attacking the football. And I thought we saw some of that, and then there's definitely a lot we got to clean up too. Just calling out a few guys who I thought did a good job. I thought some guys up front played well, and some of the young guys, like you mentioned, some young guys. You get rookies in there like Stackhouse, who played a lot of snaps, and Brinson, who played a lot of snaps, and Sorrell. Those were 3 rookie D linemen. I thought they did a nice job. Certainly, there's things that they need to get better at, but I like the way they competed. I thought they played really hard and they strained. I thought Sorrell had some good pass rushes, and he got a couple hits on the quarterback. Just jumping out. I thought JJ did a nice job. We played him in quite a few snaps, and I like how he played. He was aggressive. He used his hands. He set the edge. He got off blocks. Cox played a little bit more than the 10 plays, and he was a guy who was violent and made some plays in that game. Colby Wooden I thought he had a really good day, and he graduated, so that was a really cool day for him, and it was a really neat day. I give Matt a ton of credit for doing that and taking time out of our day because of how meaningful that was and important that decision to have him graduate in our team meeting was a really cool thing. And then KB, I thought those guys played hard up front, and I thought they did some good. And there's definitely things that, we need to clean up, and that's what the preseason's for.
What do you think you might have there in Sorrell, not just last night, but the totality of his camp so far?
In totality of camp, I think he's a young guy who's learning how to play the position. You got a guy who has pass rush ability. He strains. Here's what I saw last night. He got better as the game went on. He made mistakes in the game, and the same drive, he was correcting them, which says a lot, which doesn't really happen a lot of times for rookie players. He was correcting mistakes, and he was fixing his own mistakes fairly quickly, which to me might be the most promising thing. His toughness, we know, his leadership, I think he has a chance to be a really good leader down the road. But certainly we need to keep working with him too. It's early. It's early for all these guys.
Sticking with Sorrell, he's played some defensive tackle for you guys in practice. Is that just a necessity sort of thing, or is that something that he can do even at his lack of?
We're not putting him in like a true nose or like a true 3 technique. There's certain fronts where he's going to kind of reduce down, and he might play a 5 technique. So he might play he might play a 4 technique, so you might see him head up on a tackle, right? If we get into certain situations, he might slide inside and play in a 3 technique, so you might see him on the guard. Just trying to experiment and see what we can do with him right now. Pretty basic, though, last night with where we were lining him up. A couple times he was inside on the tackle. We're just trying to find out how much he can do and push him.
Jeff, what do you think for Quay? Obviously, he hasn't had a lot of actual team reps, but I know he's been back there behind the play, watching a lot. What do you think the next step and evolution is for him to take this year?
We got to get him back in practice. I mean, that's what you said I love about Quay. He's really locked in, and if you do watch him at practice, he's even further where I am, and he's kind of going through everything. And he started doing that last year a lot, and I think that says a lot about him. We need to get him back in practice because there's nothing that is a replacement for that. He needs to see it, he needs to feel it, he needs to get his feet back under him. He started practicing last week. I think we'll take a big step with him this week in the joint practice against the Colts, which I'm excited to see. And from there, we'll go, but we need to get him back in practice.
When he's back there, is he listening? Does he have the speaker?
Oh, yeah. So he listens to me, just like he did in the game last night, which is very important because, when you call in a play, sometimes it's a little lengthier too, and there's kind of rhythm to it, so he gets it on, he hears it over and over and over. So say I start a call with the first 2 or 3 words, he can almost finish my sentences and then kind of give me the thumbs up, right? And he kind of knows how I'm thinking. So it is really important. What alert am I going to tag on the call? What am I going to tell him to be ready for? So him and I start to kind of really be on the same page.
That part of it improved with him? I mean, has he picked that up?
Oh, yeah, it's been awesome. I can say 2 words and he'll look back and know the rest of the call, which was not always the case. So it'd be good to get him back in that regard, too. At the same time, I mean, if you look, McDuffie's had to do that a lot. He did it last night. Hopper's had to do it, which is forcing other guys to develop and have the ability to do that. Because in this season, we're gonna have other guys have to play other positions, and there can't be excuses, right? We got to have them ready, and that's just another way to help that out.
What do you like about coaching Keyshawn Nixon and what you saw from him last year at outside corner? What was it that gives you the confidence he can full-time handle that role this year?
Yeah, he's competitive. He can play man coverage, which is important. You have to be able to play man to be on the outside because he can run, he can cover, he can change direction, and I like that he'll tackle. He's a physical guy. Teams are going to try to get your corners one-on-one and force them to tackle, and he's going to do that. So those are the things that I believe he can do what he did. Didn't really have much action last night, but hopefully we'll get him more this week in practice and as we go forward in these games.
What have you learned about him? Not on the field, but I was talking to Josh Jacobs the other day, and he goes way back with him, and he didn't say Keyshawn's crazy, but he said he has a little something to him. And do you have to be on an island like that all the time?
Yeah, I wouldn't say you got to be crazy.
Right.
I'm just joking. Yeah, here's what you have to have at corner. You got to have a short-term memory because imagine you're out there one-on-one in front of our whole stadium and you just give up a go ball and you got to be able to line up the next play and still have the confidence to do it again, right? I mean, that's not that easy. You're one-on-one. It's you against somebody else. You might not have no help, and you might get beat, and everybody in the world knows it, but you have to have the confidence to go and do it again. I think that takes a pretty strong-minded person, and most of those corners are. You have to be confident. Sometimes the really good corners I've been around, you can say, wow, they're really confident. They better be. You know, they got to think they're the man even after they get beat 2 or 3 times, because you can't, all of a sudden you can't start getting in your feelings. You got to go out and do it again, and the best ones have that.
Jeff, you mentioned Stackhouse a minute ago. What do you think you might have in him, and how you can maybe develop him?
Strong. He's really stout in the middle at that nose position. He can play shade. He can play on the guard. He can play head up on the center. So he gives us some flexibility into how we want to play with our front. You know, he's got really strong hands. He can get off blocks. He can hold up on double teams. He gives us a big body on the inside, right? And we got to keep getting him better now. And just like the rest of those young guys, it's still early, and we have to keep developing him, and he has to keep working. And we'll see as this training camp goes where he finishes.
Jeff, I know that earlier in the week you told us about his narcolepsy and the stuff that he's had to go through in order to be out there, and you talked about Stackhouse in the meetings, and you guys say you can take a lap and all those things. How have you seen him persevere through that and kind of keep that in the rearview mirror, but know that that's still a thing?
Yeah, me, truthfully, I haven't seen it as an issue. You know, I'm in their meetings quite a bit, and you know, he might stand up here and there just like every other player who's tired, and that happens just so they don't doze off. I mean, training camp gets long. I haven't seen it be an issue. I haven't seen him use it as an excuse. I haven't heard much about it. I give him a ton of credit because I can't imagine having to deal with that and go out there and play football on some of those long drives with how big he is. So I have a ton of respect for him and how he's fought it and how everyone's been really supportive of it.
How do you feel like the team, I know you've been enforcing taking the ball away and punching at the ball. I know you said you liked the violent actions of last night, but no forced takeaways. You probably wanted one. How do you feel like the team transferred that over from camp into the game?
Yeah, that's a fair question, and you know, I don't think it translated over like we've been practicing. You know, and you know, take the win or take the loss out of it. That's probably the one thing that, you know, I think we take the most pride in, and I don't think we did good enough. So that starts with me. It didn't translate, and that's the whole key to this game, and not just in takeaways, but it's in everything. Like when you go to practice, you have to get your mind where it ain't just a practice where, you know, we're just going to kind of go through the motions. You got to almost approach it like it is the game, because if you can do that every single day, then what you do in practice is going to show up on game day. And that didn't show up last night. So we need to figure out why it didn't show up. And there could be a lot of reasons. First preseason game, guys are excited, guys are anxious, guys are nervous. But we got to flush that because that's not good enough. I mean, the haymakers that we saw in practice, and if any of you guys have been in practice and the way we were attacking the ball, it didn't show up last night. So we got to fix that, and it has to be better the next time we play in a preseason game. But very fair question, that clearly is not good enough.
2 more, please.
What were some of the breakdowns when their quarterback Martinez was in there and making completions, moving the team down the field in their passing game?
I couldn't tell you exactly the ones where Martinez was in. I mean, some of the breakdowns in the passing game, I don't know, you got to kind of be more specific. You got any drives or any ones you can think of? I just can't think of when he was in the game throwing versus Cook or Fields.
Yeah, they seem to have their game, you know, their second and third teams in rhythm and making completions down the field. And I didn't know if that was a result of coverage or missed assignments in the secondary.
Well, there were some missed assignments. There were some good plays that they made. There were some coverage busts from the first drive on. You know, there were some simple things in this game. Like, truthfully, if you want to go back and recap, you know, even that first drive, I mean, I thought the first 2 plays, we played really good run defense. We get them to 3rd down in a manageable 5 or 6. We bust on a pressure. We have no one where they threw the ball, so that's a coverage bust. Should have been off the field. 2 plays later or 3 plays later, we're in a man coverage, and we don't cover the tight end. He catches the ball in man and goes for like 30 yards, which leads to a touchdown. There's another one later when we were in a coverage where the guy who's supposed to be defending the flat doesn't take the guy to the flat. There's another one where they hit a deep crosser where the guy in zone was supposed to take that one. So it's hard for me to answer who the quarterback was because my mind's just not working like that last night. But whether it was zone, whether it was man, whether it was the rush not getting there, our defense works together, right? If we're in man, your job is to deny your man the football. If we're in zone, that's got to be the rush and the coverage tied in working together. So there were some really good, and there were some that have to be fixed that were very uncharacteristic of what we did.
With, I'm not asking for the injury report on Colin Oliver, but where's he at? Obviously, it isn't done anything for you guys. Is he, first of all, is he in the defensive line meetings? Is he linebacker meetings? Is he both? Is he ready to go mentally for whenever that time comes?
I hope he'll be ready. I mean, he's in the meetings right now with the D-line. I'm not sure when he'll be able to come back just yet, but I hope it's soon. Obviously, we liked him in the draft process. I know he's working really hard. He's disappointed that he can't be out here, but there's going to be a time when we're going to need him. So he's got to be locked in. He's got to be focused. But kind of like we talked about Quay, you got to go out and practice. There's no substitute for that, just like there's no substitute for what we did last night. I mean, there isn't. I mean, you can't take these preseason games lightly because they get you ready for the season. And that's why this tape is so great to have, because you can sit down. Like I always tell you guys, win or lose, you look at the tape the same way, and you correct the things that aren't good enough, and you look really hard at what you need to get better at, and you don't overreact to the things that are good. I mean, that's our job, and that's what makes coaching fun, and we got the right guys to do it, and I can't wait till they're back tomorrow so we can get back to work.
Can I ask one last thing? Jeff,
Sure.
Is there a value in moving Edgerrin Cooper to any of the other two positions, linebacker positions, as change-up, as things where maybe a defense wouldn't expect him to line up? Are those things you can do and with him, or do you prefer sticking him in one spot?
I think you'll find that out as we get going. Thought we were pretty simple last night, and I think you'll see some fun stuff pop up, but for now, we'll keep you guessing on that one.
But he could play any of those three positions.
Do you think he can play all those?
What's that?
You think he can play all those?
I'm not smart.
We'll find out. We'll find out shortly.